behalf of Global Ambassadors for Peace Through Tourism. And for convenience sake, it's a long name to remember. During the deliberations of this evening, we will refer to ourselves as GAPT. May I begin this evening's press conference by introducing myself. My name is Chandana Chakrabarti, and very happy and pleased to be associated with an organization like the GAPT, which believes in putting people together from different parts of the world and through People Connect to promote the concept of peace. So a very warm welcome indeed from all of us at the GAPT. I would have the pleasure and privilege of taking you through the proceedings of this evening. And before we go forward, I'd like to introduce everyone who's sitting on the side of the table. Short introductions in the beginning and a more detailed introduction of each of them as I ask each of them to speak to you. Unfortunately, my Telugu is not very good. I speak a little bit, but not enough to continue a whole conversation, so my address to you will be in English, so will be everybody else's excepting one very distinguished member who's sitting with us here. So on my left is Mr. Tajamul Hussain, who has founded this organization, GAPT. We have a very, very important guest with us, and one of the primary reasons we are meeting this evening is to introduce this legendary guest who's with us, Mr. M.J. Lee. He's a world champion in Kung Fu. He has won as many awards as you can think of in Kung Fu, and he's a legendary figure. I will speak more about him later. Next to him is Mr. Valmiki Harikrishan. He's very much a part of this journey, believes in the value of peace and tourism, and a veteran. Again, I'll speak about him later. And after him, on the far end of the table, is Mr. Athar Ahmed, who's been, again, a founder and an integral part of this journey that we called GAPT. Now, as I said, you will get to know more about each one as we go ahead. Why are we meeting? Two very important reasons. One is to introduce this Global Ambassadors for Peace Through Tourism. What are the objectives of this organization? What do we wish to achieve? And how do we wish to achieve this? And you will immediately understand why the concept of peace and putting people together face to face, connect each other from various backgrounds. Why is it so important in the present scenario across the world? The second reason why we are meeting here is we have this amazing guest with us, Mr. Mohammad Junaid Lee, who, as I said, is a legendary figure from the world of sports and athletics, and more than anything else, with his background, his credibility, and his association with people from all over the world, he is being appointed as the Global Ambassador for Peace Through Tourism. Another important meeting why we have him with us today, he has written an incredible book about his journey, starting from very, very humble beginnings and how he has come where he has come, a very inspiring story, and that book is also going to be launched today. As I said, he's a very inspiring figure, and this morning we happened to take him to a school. He spoke to children from the age of 6 and 14, and they were truly inspired. After having attended that meeting, I know life is not going to be same for those children who heard and got to see this gentleman there. So that's really the objective of our meeting here today. And to put GAPT in perspective, the first question that comes to our mind is, how is peace and travel related? How is peace, travel, and tourism related? Tourism is about taking people to faraway distant lands. It means travel. When you travel, you are going out of your comfort zone. You're seeing new places, you're meeting new people, you're encountering new cultures, you're encountering people who are very different from you. They speak a different language, they eat different food, they have different cultures, and sometimes it's extremely overwhelming. But the way tourism happens today is you go to a place, you see a monument, you put a picture on a Facebook, and it's over. You come back not changed. But you begin to change when you connect with people, when you learn a little about their cultures, when you actually meet people from outside and say, oh, we're very different, skin deep, different races, different color, but deep down we have a lot of similarities. Every human being, no matter where he comes from or she comes from across the world, feels the same. Our emotions are the same. We all know to love, we all know to hate, we know to cry, to eat, to breathe, everything is the same. So how do we build peace, and how do we put people on the path to this journey? So how do we recognize and appreciate diversity? How do we keep our minds open and welcome things that are different from us? So with these few words about why we are meeting and what this organization is about, I would now invite our first speaker, Mr. Tajamul Hussain, to say a few words, and I'd like to introduce him. He is the founder and chairman of GAPT. He is a person who's traveled extensively across the world. He's gone to 75 and odd countries and has a tremendous experience of meeting people from various ethnic backgrounds, and he's a man who's committed to peace. So with all the experience of traveling and the travel and tourism industry, here's something that he wants to give back to society through connecting people and promoting the cause of peace. So with these few words, I'd like to invite Mr. Tajamul Hussain to speak to us about GAPT, how he's going to launch this organization, about the Hyderabad chapter, and what role does an ambassador like Mr. Lee play in the journey that we have undertaken. Mr. Tajamul Hussain.